I was like, this sounds too good to be true. You saved $100,000 in taxes on a building you already owned? Like, man, I don't know about this.
I'm super excited to welcome Chad Brown. Is a living legend in the tax world. He focuses specifically on real estate investors, entrepreneurs. Being a tax strategist has allowed you to do things, open a hotel, a boutique hotel. It's all through this cool thing called Cost Segregation Studies, which on average saves clients $43,000.
Congressmen don't like to pay taxes either. And most of them, they own businesses or rental real estate.
Most of CPAs are sitting on gold mines for their clients, not even aware of it.
It was hard letting clients go that I've been serving for a long time. Now, once I made the move, man, it was like wildfire. Like so many firms focus on a transactional tax return a year in the past. That's not what they want. They want somebody to plan. They work so hard, take all the risk. We don't want them in a situation where they're paying all their profits or their money in taxes.
Somebody's listening to this and they're saying, that sounds awesome. I want to do that. I'm going to go tell my clients about this. But they're like, wait a second, what is a cost seg?
It's pretty simple.
Hey guys, my name's Hayden Crabtree, and on today's podcast, I'm super excited to welcome Chad Brown to the show. Chad is a living legend in the tax world. He focuses specifically on real estate investors, entrepreneurs, and really, we're going to talk about this, but I'm going to let you talk about how you pride yourself on being a tax strategist rather than somebody who just prepares taxes, and how being a tax strategist has allowed you to do things like, open a hotel. Like you just opened a boutique hotel that's Greek themed, which is awesome. You have several other businesses. We've known each other for a decade now. And the whole time that I've known you, you've always been like, got too many clients, I'm always not worried about client acquisition. And I think it's because of how you've positioned yourself, right? And so on today's show in particular, we want to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, but how you kind of think is your superpower in getting new clients. And that's by people come in and they talk to you and you say things crazy like, I cannot make you pay any taxes this year, and it's all through what we're going to dive into, but this cool thing called Cost Segregation Studies, which on average saves clients $43,000. So anyways, super excited to share this with other people out there who want to be like you when they grow up, maybe, right? But anyways, Chad, welcome to the show, man. How are you on this Friday?
Thanks, man. I'm great. Super excited to be here, to be recording this, and getting to share information on how we all can win together. What I love about what we do the most is we help clients win tremendously. They work so hard, take all the risk, and we don't want them in a situation where they're paying all their profits or their money in taxes. Yep. And so we love serving clients. We love helping them keep the money they work for.
Sure.
And that's been able to create a win for all sides of it, and a win for our side as a firm where we've been able to really niche down and figure out really what the client wants.
Yeah, absolutely. So taking that approach rather than just I think when we first met each other, you had worked at a firm that was more like tax return in, tax return out, to more now relationship-based
Sure.
Tax strategies. Like what has making that shift and fully owning that and willingly turning revenue away from your company, what has that done in terms of the firm that you have today, the numbers that it does? What can you share with us about, where Brown & McCook sits today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I spent 22 years building a firm, and my business partner and I built a firm to over 4,400 clients. And to serve that many clients and that much volume, it becomes very transactional. Yeah. Now, we were performing at a high level. We always served the clients at a really high level, and it was a boutique service, but it was a monster, and we were just trading time for money. And so what I love the most about the clients inside of those 4,400 were the business owners and the real estate investors, where I could actually help tremendously move the needle. They weren't just paying me for a transaction or a service. They were paying for experience and value and the difference we could make on their return. And I learned through that, if I focus and niche on the clients where we can move the needle the most and build a long-term, year-round relationship with, then we can charge 5 or 10 times the price we're charging now. It'd still be a huge win for everybody. And we can get better at saving that client more money because now all my time is around that specific client. All our research is around how to help real estate investors or business owners save money on their taxes. And honestly, that's where the most tax benefits at already. I tell so many people this. You have to understand, tax code isn't written by the IRS. It's written by Congress. Mm-hmm. Congressmen don't like to pay taxes either. And most of them, guess what? They own businesses or rental real estate. So there's loopholes built into thousands and thousands of random bills out there on how you can pay less taxes as a real estate investor or a business owner. So that's when I sold my previous firm and we started Brown & McCook and started something new and different. We knew we wanted to only serve 400 clients, not 4,000. And the crazy thing, Hayden, I work less than half. I was working 60, 70-hour weeks, especially during tax season. We work half as much now. We serve 10 times less clients. We know our clients. They know us. We're intimately involved in their businesses and in their investments, and we help guide them and consult with them. And that's a revenue stream we didn't have before. We are at a higher revenue and a higher profit.
Wow.
10 times less clients, higher revenue, higher profit.
Wow, man. That's incredible. And like, I remember getting the email saying like, hey, we're moving. And I was literally like, man, I hope I'm in the Cool Kids Club and I hope that I get my ticket into this new firm because I knew what you had been able to do for me. And again, being a real estate investor myself, like so much of that revolved around cost segregation studies. And I
Absolutely.
think that that's like your reputation in here in town is you're the magic man on the tax returns. And a lot of people don't know the magic behind that. And what's so surprising to me is most of CPAs that I talk with are sitting on gold mines for their clients. And they're just like not even aware of it whenever really it could be, if you don't know about it, most people don't know about it. So it's not like, hey, shame on you for not knowing, but it's more like, hey, look at what you can do for your firm, how you can position yourself, and simultaneously win-win help your client out too. So when did you first become introduced to cost seg, and what was your journey like? Because now, I'm going to say that, I don't know, what percent of your clients use cost seg? I mean, it's huge.
A tremendous, I don't know exactly, but it's a tremendous percent. I've using at least 1 or 2 properties a year. I'm personally using cost segregation studies on my return. My number one advice to business owners that have profitable businesses or that have income that we're looking how to shelter, I'm like, the number one way I can move the needle for you, and honestly, the number one investment I think you should make outside of that is rental real estate. Mm-hmm. If you buy rental real estate, you win in 3 or 4 different ways financially. And so I love cost seg studies. I got introduced to cost seg studies, man, it was probably 12, 14 years ago. I was actually at a Chamber of Commerce meeting, and a guy in that meeting owned a body shop, and he had just had a cost segregation study done by some firm out of like California. Nobody had ever heard of it. And I was like, this piques my interest. And so
first off, you're like, this isn't legit.
I was like, this sounds too good to be true. You saved $100,000 in taxes on a building you already owned. Like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, I love helping clients save money. I love the creative side of taxes. So that kind of stuff really intrigues me. And I don't like paying taxes either. And I own real estate. So I was like, all right, let's dive into this.
Let's see. Yeah.
And so I started researching cost seg studies. And while doing that, I found out there's very few people, especially at that time, that had ever heard of them. Nobody was doing it. And the credentials to do a cost seg study where you had to have experience in licensing and tax, and you had to have the same thing in construction or engineering. Well, I hold a commercial general contractor's license. I own a commercial construction company and a residential commercial construction. I own a tax firm, my career in education. So I'm like, I think I can do cost seg studies. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I started learning. And I was a DIY, do-it-yourself cost seg study guy until remote cost seg came along and took. I would spend an entire day on a property.
If not more than that, right?
Yeah. And so
they're a lot of work, but the benefits that you get out of them are just like absolutely tremendous. And the first time I learned about cost seg was, man, I think we started on a small self-storage facility, And what was crazy is I think we bought the self-storage facility for $550,000. It was a smaller commercial property. And then it's got parking lots, it's got all this stuff. But I remember because we did an SBA loan on it. And so we only put 10% down, 50 grand. I remember the tax savings that we got off of it were more than the down payment.
Yep.
We got paid in year one through the tax savings to buy the property. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And that's, of course, whenever I started becoming just an absolute pro in cost seg as much as possible. But that's awesome, man. It's definitely helped me out. It's helped you out. And then, one of the things that I just want to talk to you about is what are the challenges for a CPA out there who's like, man, I'm tired of grinding through 1,000 tax returns a year. I want to be more of a professional. What does it really take? How difficult is it to make that transition and position yourself more as a tax strategist who's still doing tax prep,
Sure.
but maybe positioning yourself as a higher value and charging more? Because when you're doing this for clients, you're saying hey, a standard tax return is $250. If I write a cost seg up on it, maybe I'm charging double, triple, whatever. And the client's take my money, please.
Absolutely. You're saving them $40,000, $50,000 in taxes.
Our average client saves $43K in taxes year one, right? And so if you're charging them an extra $500 per study, they're like, great, please, can I give you another $500 and do this again, right? So what does it take to make that shift? What challenges did you run into, or was it pretty just straightforward and the people are out there who are looking for that kind of CPA?
There's two sides of it. It is the hardest thing I have ever done in business, but it was extremely easier than I expected. And our new firm, when we made the change, I didn't know if we would even fill up in 10 years, much less in a year. We would fill up to the number of clients we wanted to serve moving forward. The reason I say it was the hardest thing I've ever done in business, it was hard walking away or letting clients go that have been serving for a long time that did not fit our new model, mentally, emotionally. That was the hard part, is saying, okay, I have a specific client I want to serve. I want to serve at a high level. We want to specialize in. That means 80, 90% of my current clients don't fit that model. So I need to find an answer where they get taken care of, where they have a good place to land before I can make that move. Yeah. Now, once I made the move, man, it was like a wildfire. Clients are so hungry for somebody that understands what they're doing, that understands how they want to save on taxes. They're not trying to do anything wrong or illegal or aggressive. They want to legitimately make investments and do things in ways that save taxes. And here's the kicker. They want to face forward, not work from behind. So many firms focus on a transactional tax return a year in the past. Clients, that's not what they want. They want somebody to plan, to think about, hey, if I buy a property between now and the end of the year, what will that look like? If I buy a property next year, how much will it save me? If you simply switch to serving a niche client and specializing in this, the word spreads like wildfire. All these real estate investors, they go to courses together. They're in boot camps and masterminds together. They're on forums together.
Well, and with social media and everything, it's so easy. Yeah. And people love to living the real estate life, and everybody knows that real estate brings these tax benefits. And
absolutely.
And there's been some really cool things come out, the short-term rental loophole or these kinds of things that have allowed more people than ever. Most CPAs probably have clients right now who could utilize this, and they currently aren't aware that they could utilize it.
95, 98%.
And there's no shame in that, right? It's just this is relatively new tax law, right? And so if we're saying all this and somebody's listening to this and they're saying, man, that sounds awesome, I want to do that. And they're like, I'm going to go tell my clients about this. But they're like, wait a second, what is a cost seg? Right? Give me what would you tell another CPA it is? And then at the same time, how do you explain it to your clients? So, or how do you pitch it to them? Maybe you don't even. Maybe you say, hey, I got an opportunity for you. We should do this. And most people trust you because you're their advisor, right?
Yeah, and so I would explain it the exact same way to other CPAs or tax firms or professionals out there on the tax prep side and to the client. It's pretty simple. When you have a rental property, you get to write it off. It's over time, which is crazy. The property appreciates in value, but you get to write it off on the tax return. You're already winning there. Now, residential properties, most of the time, are 27 and a half years. Commercial is 39 freaking years. I'm going to buy a $2 million building and write it off over 39 years. That kind of sucks. All a cost seg study does, it takes that $2 million building or that $200,000 house and it breaks it into components. It's called asset classes. Just like a vehicle is a 5-year asset class, appliances in a house is a 5-year asset class. Grading and site work and landscaping is a 15-year asset class. You are just taking the property and instead of throwing it on a tax return, one lump sum number for 39 years or 27 and a half years, you're taking it, you're breaking it down into components. Now, it's a lot more complicated on y'all's side and the work it takes to do that. But on our side for the tax return, we're breaking it down into 3 or 4 asset classes. And guess what? With bonus depreciation and accelerated depreciation in 179, when we get it into an asset class under 20 years, you can accelerate it and take a lot of it or all of it in 1 year. And so you break it down, and so you're already winning because you're writing off an appreciating asset, but now you're breaking it down into shorter spans and asset classes that are 5 years, 7 year, 15 year, which means you're speeding it up, getting it faster. But then you add accelerated depreciation, and man, it's fuel on the fire. That's why the year one, not only is the year one tax savings a huge win, you still win in year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. You're just burning basis at a much faster rate, being able to keep more money in your pocket, do more deals, time value of money. And on the tax prep side, it maybe takes me an extra 10 minutes to do it. I had to build like 3 other asset worksheets. That's all. And so I can spend time being knowledgeable on cost seg studies, who qualifies. I can spend 10 extra minutes on a tax return, and I can charge 4, 5, 10 times as much for a tax return, and everybody wins.
Everybody's happy about that. You're getting paid for the knowledge you've put in.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
If I ask a client, hey Hayden, as a client, you can pay me $350 for your tax return, and I'll do it right, and I'll do it today. It'll take me, who knows, let's say an hour, and here you go, you're good, and you owe $45,000 in taxes from your businesses and other stuff. Or I can spend an extra couple of hours researching and learning some stuff. I can spend an extra 10 minutes on the return, and instead of owing $45,000 in taxes, I can get you a $10,000 refund. You cool, pay me a couple grand for that.
Yeah, let's do that as
absolutely
many times
right
as possible.
And then you're happy, so you go tell your buddy, and then you go ask your, hey man, you ask your other buddy, hey, is your CPA doing a lot of stuff in real estate? I just saved a ton of money. Your phone
spreads like
your
wildfire,
phone starts
man.
blowing up, man. And that's how we've been able to fill up our capacity.
I think I was sending you
have
like
a waiting list,
a client a week at one point. Man.
Absolutely. And now we, unfortunately, like, it sucks. We've turned people away for a couple of years.
Yeah, and that allows you to say like, hey, I think I'm gonna get rid of this client who's a pain in the neck, and it just it gives you that leverage, right? So, and also like client retention. Dude, I will never look for another CPA until you retire, because I'm like, no, Chad's got it. He's got my best interest. And like one of the things you said, a couple hours researching, of course, every CPA out there is researching, but like one of the cool things that we're trying to do for anybody watching this is to put out a little training on the who's, the whys, the what's, the when's, the hows. So more to come on that.
Absolutely.
But, it's such a powerful thing. And so one of the cool things that we're doing at Remote Cost Seg is we recognize the value of your clients. I mean, literally, Chad, this year, we're going to pay you multi-6 figures in order just to provide this to your clients. And all of them are going to save literally millions of dollars. And so not only like to bolt on, do you get to grow your firm and charge them more on your side, but we're incentivizing you to partner up with us.
Absolutely.
And so like what would you say if somebody's like, yeah, maybe I should send my clients over to these guys? You can learn how to do cost segs all yourself, see if you have the proper certifications and all that.
I've been down that road. You start neglecting tax returns and neglecting tax clients because you're trying to spend days at a time doing cost seg studies.
Yeah.
And you're trying to chase down information from clients to do it right. Like it's just not, unless you have built a model around it, you start neglecting what you do and what you're the best at, which is tax returns. And so that's why I love partnering with you guys. And it's awesome because, again, we get to make more money. You guys take care of the client. We work together. We share information. The clients know they're in good hands. The client saves a tremendous amount of money. And you asked earlier, how do I bring it up to my clients? Well, I will do a tax return, or I will project, again, forward facing, I'll project taxes for a client and say, hey, if we do it as is, you're going to owe $40,000 in taxes.
Yeah.
If you want to kick over the remote cost seg, do a cost seg study, instead of owing 40, we'll get back 10. Do you want to do that? It'll take a few weeks, and, we can completely turn this thing around. It's a yes every single time. They don't care about costs at that point. We're saving them $50,000 in taxes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a real win-win. So if a CPA is out there listening, is like, sounds awesome. What would they look for in a client? Is there, like, I know the answer to this, but what do you look for when you're strategizing with a client of, like, maybe they own this kind of property, maybe they have that kind of property. Well, they bought this property X years ago. Like, what do you look for in a client to go, like, ding, 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 hey, check this out. I got something to talk to you about. Again,
this is where niching down becomes so important as a firm as you become trying to become more successful and charge more per client. I wouldn't have time for the type of research we do for real estate professionals if I was doing 4,000 returns. My firm was doing 4,000 returns a year. I was having to manage 25 people, or I was just in the weeds of so much day to day. That's the key for us is we can research, hey, what clients win from cost seg studies, what situations, and just a quick crash course of that.
Yeah.
Pretty much any rental property qualifies. Now, investment property does not, properties you're holding, personal residence does not, but any rental, residential, commercial, vacation.
What about business use? You got a guy who runs a cabinet, a countertop shop and sells countertops out of a warehouse. What about that?
Absolutely. Warehouses, owner-occupied real estate.
Okay.
Now, so anything rental real estate qualifies. Now you got to determine, does the person on the tax return qualify? If they make over a certain amount, there's loss limitations for rental property. So you have to determine, is there any way to classify as a short-term rental, which is a loophole that gets around the loss limitation? Is there any way to classify them or their spouse as a real estate professional, which is a very, very generous, wide net of what can qualify and who can qualify for that? And so it doesn't take a whole lot of complex tax strategy. It just takes a little bit of research and understanding, hey, who can win with a cost seg study and how much can they win? And it's, for the most part, I think for both of us, we can find ways that 80% of people with rental property can qualify and can win from it, no matter the cost of the property, no matter if they bought it 3 years ago or they bought it this year. Yeah. There's so many different ways to win on so many levels from this thing. I done a return today, man. I mean, he saved like $70,000 on his tax return because of accelerated depreciation and stuff like this.
Wow, that's awesome, man. It really is so good. And I know that's got to feel good for you to like call that client and be like, hey.
It's so exciting.
Yeah,
he's having a down year in his business. Like last year he crushed it, but this year's a down year. And, he's like, hey, God, is there any way I can not pay a ton of taxes? Like,
so he's having a down year, paying his taxes from last year where he had a great year. That hurts a lot.
Yeah. And so we're able to flip that. And like, we just become the hero, man. It's awesome.
No, that is really good. And so just for clarity, like anybody who has short-term rental properties, right, doesn't matter about real estate professional status, but if you have anybody who's in the real estate world, whether that's an agent or a broker or an investor who owns rental property of any kind, and I think it's important to know a lot of people out there say, hey, these things aren't worth doing if you didn't buy the property for $2 million, whatever it's like. And we do properties and we see 5-10x returns on the cost of the study in tax savings on $250,000.
Yeah, so you take a $250,000 house, you pick up $60,000, $70,000 in tax deduction for somebody.
Yep.
That deduction can equal $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 of tax dollars in their pocket. So
That's a win.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I'll do that
Or
every
by the way,
time.
just let your client decide,
Yeah.
So if anybody out there who's listening to this wants to talk more about partnering with us, again, we do have a partnership program where we offer a white glove service to your clients. You simply say, hey, I think you do great on a cost seg study. Talk to the guys at Remote Cost Seg. You send them over. We pride ourselves on taking care of these people the same way you would. They're your clients. We respect that. We want to get them maximum tax savings. And at the end of the day, we give you a full-blown report of exactly what asset classes to work up. And the good news about this is, again, just like we've paid you, we pay other CPAs for partnering with us. It's a real win for the client, win for you as you're positioning yourself, making more money both from the client and from us, and a win for us as we grow our business. So anybody who wants to partner, just reach out. We're super excited to talk with you about it and helping your clients out. But other than that, man, you've been so helpful. Any final remarks, anything that you would say to the people out there tuning in?
Just reach out. Most importantly, helping your clients save money on taxes and win. This is not too good to be true. You guys are not some fly-by-night firm. You guys do this. This is all you do. You specialize in it. We've worked together for a lot of years. You guys are real estate professionals. You're doing it on your own returns. I am too. You are not serving your client at the highest level you can if you're not offering some version of outsourced cost seg studies. And so reach out. I guarantee you it will change the dynamic of your business. You'll make more money. You'll serve clients at a higher level, and you'll have happier clients.
That's what it's all about, man. Well, thanks for coming today. I really appreciate it. And again, for anybody out there who is finding value in this, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you learned something that's going to help you serve your clients at a higher level.